It may be an allergic condition. Red-haired animals are especially liable. Stretchers side by side in the corridors, sperm all over the sheets, the walls, and the floor. There were red blotches on the boy's face, but they seemed rather large for measles. Away from the other patients. It's terrible, Doctor. The older patients are dying like flies. Just put one foot solidly in front of the other, Doctor. That's right. Hippocrates points sternly to the sheet. They want a fever world. Captain, that is short. Order the broad spectrum, Cortison, of course. Towards the end of an 8-hour shift, he tended to be perfunctory. I'll help you put it on, Doctor. He ordered attendants to restrain him, but no attendants were available. This reading is from a novel in progress entitled Cities of the Red Night. Not that I care what they catch, it's just hospital procedure. Where you'll kill me first, sir. You filthy little beast, he snapped. And a few white men stood between them and the fever freaks. Be careful, Doctor. The garrulous old nurse caught his arm in time. And you, nurse, what are you gawking at? Junkies, however, are only lightly affected. Of course, he could always slip a half-grain under his tongue. On short rations here, son. Quarter G 3 times a day. Every sort of copulation was going on in front of him. He always referred to a patient as the disease. He had barely settled in bed after he was fixed when the phone rang. It was the super. Well, they might have put something on him. Is an agent that produces biologic changes in those affected, fatal in many cases. They're out there, son. Points beyond the barbed wire and gun turrets. He folded the sheet down to the boy's knees. Inside was a seed from Dante. The human race will remember. It was like that when they picked him up, Doctor. I don't know what this is, nurse, but it's rather disgusting. He liked to be in bed when he took his shot. Some of these mutations are favorable and some otherwise. By the time they got his clothes off, his body was also affected. What an old windbag, the boy thought. Where is my fix? Order a bed in isolation. And this passage concerns a virus which occasions biologic alterations in those who survive. As some of these crazed patients seemed in danger of strangulation, he couldn't remember where or when. That happens when you are feeling no pain. They will spread as far and fast as possible. Half a grain in each shot, he could always cover for that. As he dressed and picked up his satchel and walked to the hospital. By the time they got his clothes off, his body was also affected. Every disgusting thing they could think of. It looks like measles, Doctor. If the sexual condition continues, do not hesitate to administer morphine. A gob of semen hit the back of his hand right on the skin knuckles. Waiting, watching, and these alterations are genetically conveyed. The Army always takes care of its own. To destroy enemies and quite literally make friends. A brisk young girl in some sort of uniform rubbed her tits against him in a most offensive manner. He also seems to be giving out a horrible odor. As he reached for his bag, he noticed that he had barked his knuckles. Could it be that dirty little boy, he thought? He seems to be in some state of sexual delirium. He disliked children, adolescents, and animals. God help us if we ever run out and fall into their hands. His temper was always evil when he ran over like this. And before she got the mask on, he smelled it and he knew it was that dirty boy. The boy snickered. He wiped it off with an exclamation of disgust, which, as a matter of survival, Dr. Pearson was a discreet addict who kept himself down to 3 shots a day. They go into the most awful spasms at the end, Doctor. Most distasteful thing I ever stand still for, he told himself later, but it's still an easy score. But right after a shot, he could be nice in a dead, fishy way. The word went out that junk was the only insurance against the fever. Seems we have an epidemic on our hands, Doctor. All staff report back to the hospital immediately. Being that disgusted with the human body, he wondered why he had chosen the medical profession. Well, I suppose I have to look at the little naked beast. The boy had an erection. The genitals and the area adjacent to the genitals were bright red, like a red bikini. The doctor said, "My God, what's that smell?" And the usual antibiotic. Well, perhaps sometime, somewhere, giving rise to a race of mutants known as the fever freaks. Do you have a typhoid bed in isolation? No, we don't. Well, it can't stay here. He was washing his hands when the nurse came in with a stretcher table and an orderly to take the boy to isolation. Now begins a deadly war of extermination between the junkies and the fever freaks. Why is he naked? Well, get it in here, nurse, whatever it is. Well, doctor, you can have the northeast wing if you want, right here. Sorry, doctor, the morphine stocks are exhausted on the older patients. Which you didn't notice at the time. Virus B23. Hatching every filthy thing in their diseased minds and bodies. A top government official bluntly warned. Here's the old junkie CO taking the young lieutenant on his rounds. The boy was wheeled into a cubicle. Oh yes, doctor, right over there for your mask. At this terrible pronouncement, the doctor turned pale as death. We have to ration it, son. He recovered from the fever because of his addiction. Feel it hit in the back of his neck and move down the backs of his thighs while he blew cigarette smoke towards the ceiling. I don't want to hear any generalities, nurse. Take me to my room. But that was wasted. That's what we have to deal with out here. The doctor pulled the sheet up to the boy's chin. His duty as a physician is clear. The doctor leaped back as he would from a striking snake, but he was too late. Of course, son. He slumped to the floor in a faint, his face covered with red blotches. Virus B-23, now loose in our overcrowded cities. The word cute did not exist in his emotional vocabulary. Permanent and hereditary in those who survive and become carriers for that strain. He recalled later that he felt a slight tingling sensation. The doctor turned back to the boy on the bed. No stemming the black market, the government concedes and legalizes. Fingers cold with distaste, the doctor folded the sheet down to the boy's waist and noticed that he was wearing no shorts. By the virus had remained characteristically unchanged. The doctor gasped and clasped a handkerchief in front of his mouth and nose. Get it out of here! Some of them had pillowcases and towels wrapped around each other's necks in some kind of awful contest. He turned back to the attendants. What are you standing there for? Get out! The doctor looked at the boy's face with distaste. So when he got the call from emergency, he hoped it wouldn't take long or keep him overtime. They'll sell you red hots for junk, give you in a nasty sex spasm. He saw there was a police line around the entrance. And this dirty child was delaying his fix.